All right, quick nightly recap. As we said last night, with the SPY, we were looking for something in this 504 area. Now, that was before we had this crazy kind of macroeconomic news, World War III, and all this madness. So, this still looks to me like that would be a good zone for a short-term bounce. I mean, so it's as I said last night, it's kind of a dicey time to really get a lot of conviction on the long side. But this is interesting activity on the SPY, and I think if we could find some sort of bottom, potentially now maybe a little bit below this 504, this seems a little too obvious now. So maybe somewhere near 500, a nice even number. That could be a potential bounce zone to see if we could then get into some of these longs that we have on the watch list. And let's go through a few of those, see what's still intact after today's bloodbath. Something we had, probably the top watch is RBLX in my opinion. It did take a bit of a whack today, but big picture, it still really looks good. As I was saying in last night's video, somewhere in this 34.50 neighborhood would probably, if you really wanted to look to take a big swing position and really let it work and build in some range to your strategy and to your approach. I still think this is very much intact. I would say this zone here is probably that level of support that you'd want to be playing off. So RBLX is still very much intact, big picture. When you zoom in a little bit and you kind of start dealing with the day-to-day activity, it's pretty brutal right now. I mean, this is something that you need to really be prepared with your strategy and your approach and your emotions if you're going to play the big swing here. But still certainly something on the watch list for sure. A few different ways we could approach that, but that's one I'm watching. Let's see a couple others. Also Hub C, as I said yesterday. I said this could potentially have another leg up. Now, I also wasn't factoring in that a lot of this macro news with Israel played a big part in this. So that was kind of even more of a quality setup than I had previously mentioned. But nevertheless, a nice day trade type play, quick 1 day hold maybe. Personally, that's how I would approach these. I just feel I don't like to sit in these too long, but that was a quality opportunity yesterday into today. Somewhere in this, low 1 neighborhood. If you had played that, a lot of potential on that one. And who knows, could continue, could go nuts. I mean, this has a history of having some good action, but this volume is really getting good. So that's a trade that I'm done with, but still something I'll just keep an eye on. Good old Krispy Kreme still looks good to me. Again, just like RBLX with this big picture approach, this is the 5-year monthly. These are big time frames I'm thinking about here. This is not, day-to-day trading. This is big swings for big profits with incredible risk-reward ratios. I mean, I feel like that is where you make the lump sum of all your gains. That's why stuff like Hub C, I like this stuff, but it's a lot more risky, in my opinion, than when you look at something big picture and really start to factor in multiple reasons why you're interested in the trade. And typically, in my opinion, it's more so big picture stuff than just the day-to-day action. So back to the Krispy Kreme here. Again, red day today, basically everything was gonna have that, and it's really kind of just hanging on. I'd like to see it kind of flush this gap here, and then we could really, look to be a lot more confident in that entry, because these type of big gaps that hold, that just kind of makes me nervous as a swing long. But still intact, still looks good, still has potential. Couple more. I did like this Upwork, but it just keeps getting whacked. I mean, sometimes these look good, but then they just continue to sell off, and it loses that shape. So this is falling into that basket right now. But you need to keep your eyes on it, because it can turn quick. Same situation with this here, Beyond Meat. Had the big volume, and it has just faded for 2 months here. Another one, just like Upwork though, had a good visual for a while, and now it's kind of dissolved. But that's sometimes right when it gets juicy, because everyone, like myself, as I'm saying, starts to give up on the trade. So gotta stay diligent, gotta just continue to monitor. Don't let it slip off radar. This was the cheapie that I had thrown out yesterday with this. It's LXRX. That's a nice little box, little quality risk reward trade here. But in terms of the daily, I mean, there's potential here. There's a good opportunity in terms of risk reward. Just gotta get you just gotta time it up right with something like this, with anything. Couple others. These two, now this one's kind of, there's a couple that are falling into the dissolved basket tonight. We had BYND, we had, what did I just say, Upwork, and also now this IREN doesn't look too good anymore. MNY was a similar look, both weekly 2 years. This one's hanging on, but the daily just looks kind of weird, so kind of all over the place right now. But we gotta just stay on top of it. This also too, I've been looking at this crazy monthly 5-year on MNKD. I mean, there's some big trades out there that are brewing, but right now the overall markets are just kind of funky, and they're just melting up, and it's hard to really get into something, because every day you feel like it's the top, and then it just keeps going, and the cycle continues. So interesting name here, very interesting. And was there anything else here? We had a couple others. I was just flicking through. Kind of looks interesting here, but again, kind of dissolving. You'd like to see it tighten up and start flirting with that 2 area. Instead, it's just rolling over. So, all right, that's gonna be it tonight, and we will be back tomorrow.